Welcome to the She's Just Not That Into You podcast, where we're redefining female experiences and prioritizing female perspectives. I'm Rianne.
And I'm Ji-Yun. We are two friends with global background, sharing our multicultural experiences and discussing everything that sparks our passion.
Every week, we have honest, intimate conversations that we hope will inspire and empower not only each other, but women everywhere.
Hi everyone, welcome back to our latest episode. And I'm Ji-Yun, joined by my amazing co-host, Rian.
Hi everyone.
So today's topic is something that's been going really viral on social media and probably really relevant for a lot of women out there. So we are going to talk about black cat energy. You've probably seen it online and it's everywhere right now, but we are going to break it down and have some honest conversations about how it applies to dating and romantic relationships. But we want to make sure that there's no misunderstanding. Black cat energy can absolutely apply to so many areas of life, like in work, in friendships, and even more. But today we want to focus on why it's actually not as empowering for women as we've been told so, especially in terms of dating and romantic relationships. So let's break down what we mean by black cat energy. Rian, can you actually explain a little bit more about it? Because I feel like you're more of an expert than I am about it.
As Gian said, it's something that seems to have gone viral on Instagram Reels and also TikTok and I guess YouTube as
Right.
well. It's just seems to be coming up for me everywhere. Maybe because the algorithm knows that I'm a woman of a certain age and that I'm single.
You are like the perfect target.
I think I think it thinks that I'm in need of dating advice. So basically, black cat energy is basically referring to a power dynamic in any kind of romantic relationship where, well, it can be any relationship, I guess, but since we're specifically talking about romantic relationships this time,
Yeah.
so it's a power dynamic in a romantic relationship between one person who's a black cat and another person who's a golden retriever. So in this power dynamic, basically the black cat is the one who is being chased and the golden retriever is the one who's doing the chasing. And basically the dating advice generally says that women tend to be happier in romantic relationships where they are the black cat and the man is the golden retriever who is chasing them rather than the other way around. So basically, I guess it kind of comes down to this whole theory that men are biologically wired to be the chaser and women tend to feel more comfortable being in the position of the one who's being chased. Yeah, so black cat energy basically is about being the one who's a bit more cold and distant and aloof, and I guess also the one
like
who's
mysterious.
Mysterious.
Yeah,
The one who's more kind of comfortable with themselves. You know, like if you imagine like a black cat doesn't really care what other people are doing. It kind of lives at its own pace. Yeah, it's not really that fussed. Whereas if you think of a golden retrievers are very kind of influenced by how everyone else around them is behaving.
Oh my god, so cute.
Right? Like, you know, golden retrievers put loyalty above everything else. They, you know, they're always, you know, there to support and to kind of be the chaser, I guess, whereas the black cat is there or not there depending on how the cat feels, not based on anything else.
It's basically like I'm doing me and you are doing you, and I don't really care what you're thinking about me.
Yeah, and kind of like if you want to come to me, then you can come to me and then I can decide whether I want to entertain that or not. Whereas the golden retriever is like, oh my god, that looks so fun, I'm going to go over there.
Yeah.
So the golden retriever is basically more focused on other people than on itself, I guess.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
And I guess it's kind of generally advised that when women behave like a black cat, that's what men find attractive because men like to be golden retrievers, apparently.
Right.
Yeah. So I think, the advice says that men are actually happier being a golden retriever than they are being a black cat as
Right.
well. So it kind of goes both ways. And then there's also this other theory that came out
Oh
relatively
my
recently
god.
about white cat energy as well.
Oh my god. Okay, what is it?
um, so I think the whole point is that black cat energy is about kind of being dark and mysterious,
Yeah.
and white cat energy is apparently for it's I think it's advised for the women who want to be the one who's being chased but don't feel comfortable being the black cat who's kind of mysterious and confident and sassy. And for women like that, it's advised that they could instead choose to be a white cat, which is still the one who's being chased, but it's more kind of a playful and fun cat.
Like what like what's the difference between like golden retriever and white cat?
So
But I get it, right?
I did hear once on dating advice a YouTube video that the difference between a black cat and a white cat is that if the man does something that you don't like, the black cat's response will be to ghost him,
Mm-hmm.
and the white cat is, not as sassy and mysterious as the black cat. So the white cat will still reply to him and not, she won't
Oh
just
my
cut him
god.
off without anything. But in her reply, she'll say something kind of playful and fun, but kind of she'll still make sure to tell him that she's upset about what he did, whereas a golden retriever wouldn't say that they're upset about what that
Right.
person did, and they'll just continue chasing.
Okay. Oh my god. So I actually didn't know about this whole energy thing until you like told me, like, I don't know, like a few weeks ago or something, and you were like, oh, do you actually know this kind of like a black hat energy thing? And I was like, lol, what the hell is that, like? And Rian started sending me like a bunch of YouTube videos about it. And actually, the first thing that came to mind is like, what? Like, seriously? Like, why do we have to invent something like black hat energy to make a guy interested in like me? Like, do we really think that this is empowering? Like, when we have to spend so much time of our precious time studying this kind of energy thing? So it's so natural that we started talking about how we should, talk about this in our podcast and why it can be a problem.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it was a bit overwhelming for June because I mean, because for example, I first got introduced to black cat energy, and then after that I heard about white cat energy. But then to when I sent all the videos to June, I think the first one you watched was like black cat energy versus white cat energy, and you were like so overwhelmed by all these different
Yeah.
cats.
And there's the whole golden retriever thing, and there's this sort of like dark feminine energy, like bright, like light feminine energy.
Yeah.
It's like astrology, like it's so complicated.
Yeah, I think so yeah, I think we both agreed that women probably shouldn't be spending their time studying how to please men. And
Right.
I guess like the very act of studying all these things means that we're putting men on a pedestal, right?
Right. Exactly.
Which is kind of ironic because I think black cat energy is meant to be about empowering women, right? Because like if you think about like black cats, they're never like studying how to be mysterious, you know?
Yeah, exactly. It's just natural for black cats. We don't want to be black cats if we are already black cats. But I'm not saying that this energy thing is completely like wrong. If this is something that truly aligns with you, like frees you, empowers you, I'm happy. And I totally agree with the idea of I do me and you do you. But is this really like I really want to ask, like, is this really, really worth our time that could be spent otherwise? You know? It's all about opportunity cost. And also, think about it, like guys don't sit there thinking, oh, I'm gonna be like so mysterious and distant to make her chase me. Like they are not gonna spend their time watching a lot of YouTube videos, or even they wouldn't think about creating like blue dragon energy or like white tiger energy or whatever to make girls interested in them.
Oh my god.
Like, do we really think guys would do this kind of thing, like spending, like dedicating their time to studying this? No.
Yeah, no, I
Yeah, go
think
ahead.
it's also a bit kind of problematic in terms of it's very heteronormative to say that women are happier being a black cat and men are happier being
Absolutely.
a golden
Absolutely.
retriever. Because if you're, in a same sex relationship, how do you decide whether you're going to be the black cat or the golden
Yeah,
retriever,
that's what I'm
right?
talking about. So this whole concept of black cat energy just really oversimplifies everything, like how relationships work. Like you just said, like the reality, like people aren't just one thing or another. Like it's so complex and complicated, sort of personalities and dynamics that we experience, and this kind of theory always reduces our experiences to a single like formula, I would say.
Yeah, although remember that now we can choose between black cat and white cat, so
Oh
we
my
have
god.
we have two different personality options now.
It's only two. I mean, even MBTI has how many? Even MBTI
16.
has 16 personalities, but then we women only get to choose two in romantic relationships.
Oh my god.
And what I think is also toxic about this whole energy theory is that this is so like gender binary, like you mentioned. It's just so based on this outdated gender binary norms that don't really work anymore. It's so fundamentally misogynistic and ignores all the facts that people are diverse in their identities, and we shouldn't be just what we are told to be.
Yeah, but I think the reason why we were kind of discussing before about why we think this theory kind of came about, and I guess it's because, for centuries and centuries, women were not allowed to have any social status or even, own money or own property. Because of that, women were very dependent on having a man to rely on.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So I think maybe it's because of that I guess maybe for women it was historically seen as more important to be able to find a man to, chase them and want to look after them like a golden retriever,
Mm-hmm.
because their livelihood literally would depend on that. Because I think, like, until not that long ago, I think in the UK women couldn't own property or money without having their husband own it for them. So I
Right.
think because of that, women have been socially conditioned to be in this position of placing a lot of importance on finding a man to look after them.
Right.
But yeah, now we're kind of living in a different time and age. So I guess it's probably more important for us to think about other ways of pursuing romantic relationships, right?
Yeah. And I think that way should be being more introspective. But I feel like this dating advice, this energy theory, just really ignores there can be different layers to women as well. Like, we are so much affected by our individual experiences. All women are different, all women have different desires. And how we connect with other people is also different, right? Like, for example, like we all can be black cats, but at the same time we can also be golden retrievers. There are just different points in our life when we can be black cats or golden retrievers. Like when we feel vulnerable, we can be like golden retrievers. We can be out there seeking for more affection and want to be loved, want to be understood. But when we are abundant in our happiness or confidence, we can be black cats, right?
Yeah.
So just telling women to be like we have to be black cats, it's actually putting us into boxes again. It's going backward.
Yeah, also, I think just from my personal experiences, I think that, being the one who's in the position of being chased is not always completely satisfying or fulfilling either. I
Right.
think a lot of people have needs beyond just being the one who's being chased or who's being
Mm-hmm.
wanted or whatever. Because when you think about it, if you're in a relationship with someone who is being the golden retriever and you're the black cat, the problem is that the golden retriever never really understands the black cat. Because the thing about the black cat is that they're meant to be mysterious and, a bit distant and stuff, which means that it kind of prevents the black cat from forming deep emotional connections with other
Right.
people, right? Because yeah, the black cat who's gonna be the one to understand the black cat? Whereas I feel like golden retrievers tend to have deeper emotional connections, and people seem to understand the golden retriever better, right?
Right, yeah.
Because the golden retriever is more kind of like open and
Mm-hmm.
like the golden
Yeah.
retriever is always being themselves, whereas like nobody knows what the black cat is really thinking. So then you kind of end up in a relationship with someone who you feel like doesn't really understand you, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, or who doesn't like see you for who you are,
Exactly. I
which
mean,
is
what
my
if
biggest
there
fear.
are women out there who don't want to be black cats and who are naturally more like golden retrievers and, just trying to fit everything into just one simple like energy theory doesn't do justice to the complexity of real relationship that we experience?
And also, I think we've been discussing several times in the past about how, a foundation of a good romantic relationship is, being good friends. And in
Right.
order to be good friends with your partner, you have to be equals, right?
Yeah. Equal
And
partners.
yeah, and then in this power dynamic, there's no
It's not
equality.
equal.
Like,
Oh.
and golden retrievers and black cats probably aren't friends with each other, right?
Right. And someone has to be the dominant always.
Yeah, no, I was also going to say that I think it's quite problematic because, just for any listeners who might not be familiar with this, there's this thing called attachment theory in relationships where, it's said that you're either securely attached, which means you feel comfortable in, close relationships and you feel comfortable kind of being yourself and receiving love and giving love. And then there's also insecure attachment where you can either be anxiously attached, which means that you always kind of need reassurance and validation and you're always
Hmm.
kind of worried about being abandoned, or you can be
Right.
avoidantly attached, which means that you feel uncomfortable when the relationship gets too close and you feel the need to kind of withdraw and push people away. And I feel like this whole black cat and golden retriever thing is quite problematic because, it's said that a lot of the time people who are securely attached tend to get into romantic relationships with other people who are securely attached, but then people who are either anxiously attached or avoidantly attached tend to get into relationships with each other, which is a disaster because there's one person who always wants reassurance and validation and then
Yeah.
another person who's always trying to run away. And
Hmm.
I feel like that is the black cat and golden retriever dynamic, right?
Right, right.
Like the black
Hmm.
cat is being avoidant and the golden retriever is the one
Yeah.
who's anxiously chasing. And
But
I
not
feel
every
like
relationship is that combination of dynamic?
no, exactly. And I feel like the goal is
Yeah.
for both partners to be securely attached,
Right.
which
Hmm.
this theory doesn't promote because it's encouraging people to
Definitely.
get into that dynamic of one person being anxious and one person being avoidant, which is not healthy, right?
Right. And I've seen loads of couples around me who are both golden retrievers and they are always like cuddling each other and they're always chasing each other and they are always like, spending time together, like showing affection and stuff like that. So it's not something that we can just define one way or another.
Then a relationship with two black cats would never happen, probably. They would just like ghost each other after the first
Yeah.
date.
Yeah. So here's something that I do when I feel like I'm about to do something just because society or some like expectation tells me to. Like I try to like flip it and think, okay, is this something that a guy would do? Like would a guy do this? Like
Mm.
for example, let's say a guy wants to impress a woman and imagine him lying in bed at night watching YouTube videos about black cat energy or whatever, like blue dragon energy or something, learning how to act distant or aloof, pretending he's uninterested when really he is interested, like he's trying to like get attention and be mysterious, and I don't find this attractive. Like honestly, like would he really be himself doing all this? Like just imagine a guy doing all that just to get a woman to chase him. Like I think it's more embarrassing than attractive. It's not authentic, and most importantly, it's not powerful. Seriously, just imagine a guy doing this. It's not powerful. So I think that's how I check myself, not just black hat energy and everything. If I'm about to do something based on what society tells me that I should do as a woman, I think would this make sense if a guy were doing the same thing? And if their answer is no, probably it's something that's misogynistic or something that's very stereotypical.
Yeah.
Like would it be truly like powerful or socially recognized behavior, like they would already be doing it.
Yeah, yeah.
We wouldn't need to tell them to do so.
Yeah, that's so true. Yeah, so do you have any kind of advice to give listeners about what you think we should do about this whole
Mhm.
thing going forward?
I think the reason why this theory went so viral actually really attached to the current like social like general atmosphere that we are all looking for a quick fix for everything. Like when it comes to our
Yeah.
relationships, our I don't know, stress or career or whatever, we always look for something really quick because we don't want to spend more time, like a painful time looking into ourselves or like reading books or whatever that whatever it requires us to do to fix everything, fix the problems in our lives. So I think it's important to realize like doing me doesn't magically happen overnight by watching just one or two YouTube videos like black hat energy videos. I think it comes from years of talking to yourself, going through awkward like cringy moments, all the failures, like embarrassing moments and stories that make up who you are and your past. Is those moments and experiences that help you discover who you truly are, and it's not some quick fix. It's earned through time and your experience and self-reflections. It takes time, and just accept it and embrace it and be comfortable with it. Just be who you are. I think that's the most important.
Yeah, that sounds like really good advice. Yeah, I think what I want to say is that what I find most problematic about this whole black cat energy thing is that it kind of makes women think that the main goal for happiness in a relationship is being chased, which is not really the right thing to look for, I think. I think it's more important to, look for, like I said, like friendship, companionship, and I guess like, deep emotional connection and being understood and
Mm-hmm.
that kind of thing. And, in this whole golden retriever black cat power dynamic, I think all those things are not really there, right?
Right.
As we said, like, friendship and being understood and all of those things, it's not really something that you can do if
Right.
you're being mysterious and
Right.
being
Mm-hmm.
distant and all that. Yeah, so I think that was what I would say.
Like being popular with guys is not our life goal. Like if you think a guy is not interested enough, just let him be that way. That's it. That's his choice, and it's not your problem. Like if they're not giving you the attention that you deserve, you don't have to bend over backward trying to make them. So
Yeah, because as I said earlier in the episode, I guess historically it was very important for women to be attractive to men because our life would depend on whether
on
a
them
man would want to
financially
support.
and everything,
Yeah,
yeah.
whether a man would want to support us or not. But then now we're not living in that time and age anymore. So yeah, I think that was a good discussion, and we'd love to hear what you think of black cat energy and white cat energy and all of this stuff in general. So yeah.
And in our next episode, we are going to be discussing how to make big choices in life and about choices that we make based on our intuition. So please stay tuned and we'll be back again in another episode.
Bye.
Bye bye. Thank you so much for listening to our latest episode. And if you like that, please share with a friend.
We'd also really appreciate if you could rate and review our podcast. And please get in touch if you have any feedback.
We'll be back again with another episode next week.